So it's fine. Like, let me just revise this part. Uh, I do need to check up the stream quality real quick because वही audio का problem. Hopefully that issue is not going to happen right now. Why is it? Okay. Let's just go ahead and see. Hopefully that issue is not going to happen right now. Okay, yeah. So finally I was able to fix this weird like audio issues. Okay. So now let's get started with the class. So yeah. So today we shall be focusing on the data structures in Python. Though you might be familiar with a lot of this DSA problems, right? So I was just making these kind of notes, and this is the book that you guys have. This is the Sumit Arora book. Sumit Arora, right? I forgot the name of the author. But yeah, Sumit Arora. Now the point is, this is the syllabus. Let's quickly go back and see what we were dealing with. In your syllabus, it's fine. I'm just repeating it for a sake of a complete video. Okay. And also, you don't remember what was taught. That was pretty much clear. Now, look here. Stack operations, operation on stack, push and pop. Okay. Implementation of the stack using list. So just see, in the data structure of your syllabus, you just only have the stack operations. That means that if I just go to this whole node that I've created under the stack, you don't even need to actually create a class for it. Okay. You would be able to use your stack by just defining it using a list. But the point of basically today's class is to not go through that route, but to basically understand how object-oriented programming works. Okay. So you need to understand what are classes and objects. So by the way, do you remember anything from the previous class, like what were classes and object? Can you do a recap, or should I just go about it?
Classes হচ্ছে একটা list, object হচ্ছে append.
What? No. So that those are member functions. You totally okay? Fine. Don't worry. So imagine yourself, like not even imagine. You are practically a student of class 12, right? So what is class 12? Class 12 is like a template. So it has syllabus for physics, chemistry, mathematics, computer science, biology. If someone is taking, let's say, the commerce stream, then it will have courses like economics, like what is this, cost tax and accounting. Okay. If someone is in arts, it will have like not philosophy, I think social sciences, then political science and all this. The point is that each and every stream of a class, like school's class, high school, will have certain characteristics. That means someone who wants to be in that class has to basically adapt themselves to the attributes, or let's say adapt themselves towards the like the property that the class shows to them. Okay. Now that means everyone, like everyone who is a student in your class, will be an object, right? Like you yourself are a student of class 12 science stream. So that means you are an object of that class, means you have inherited the knowledge or the high school level physics, chemistry, mathematics, and computer science and English, right? So you have inherited that knowledge. That means you are having a few properties that are common to everyone who belongs to that particular class. So in essence, classes are just like templates, and objects are basically the cookies that come out of the cookie cutter. So is that clear?
তো আমি ভুলটা কি বললাম যে ক্লাসেস লিস্ট আর
Yeah.
অবজেক্ট হচ্ছে আমি একটা লিস্টের মধ্যে কি অ্যাকশনস অপারেট করতে পারি?
No, that is wrong. So why is it wrong? A list is actually, okay, the concept of list is a class. Okay. And and let's say some list, say my list, okay, having the type as the class list is an object of the class list. Now it may have some functions, or let's say some member functions that can be applicable on that particular my list. Then those member functions are like dot sort, dot append, dot extend. Okay, these are actually functions which are working on that object itself. So these are member functions. That is different. So is that clear?
না না লিস্ট একটা আপনি এটা লিস্ট একটা ক্লাস
List is a class,
কারণ
yes.
আপনি এখানে লিখে হচ্ছে যে অ্যাকশনস যেগুলো পারফর্ম
Yeah,
হ্যাঁ
which one? An
অ্যাপেন্ড
object,
একটা
yeah,
একটা মানে ফাংশন an
yes,
object is a specific thing created from a class. If car is the blueprint, then a red Toyota Camry is an object. A blue Ford,
Mustang
a blue
is
Ford
another object.
Mustang is another
Each
object.
object has its own set of attributes based on the class template. For example, one's object's color can be red, while another's can be blue.
লিস্টের ভিতরে একটা অবজেক্টের এক্সাম্পল
List and object example. A good example would be basically creating a list. So if I class is a list. List is a list is oh, okay. Wait. Let me show you. Okay. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me show you. So let me just go back here and let's create some code snippets. Okay. So suppose I have my list. Okay. Now if I just initiate a list here, then if I just do type of my list, it should show me the type, which should be okay, wait, I need to print it as well. Okay, oh, it just shows the list. Okay, I thought that generally it shows the class then list. So if I do print, then if I do this, now this will show this. Okay, see, it is a class list. Okay, so in Python you will find it that it's a very interesting thing though. Let me show you one more example of it. Okay, so suppose I say a equal to sorry, a why is yeah, a equal to 10. Then I do type of a. Now if I just do a print, then you will see that this is of class int, right? But in C programming, suppose I do it in C, then you will see that it is of data type int, not the class int. The difference is that the data type is basically just a memory address, which basically contains a certain amount of memory based on the data type, and it has restrictions on what kind of, let's say, values it can store. Okay, but you will see in the classes, it not only has those specifications from C, but it also has different member functions that can be applied on this kind of classes. So as we go along, you will see that a lot of, like, everything in Python is actually a class. Now you will say that what is an object? So an object is this. My list is an object. So my list is an object of class list. Is that, or let's say the a equal to 10. Then I would say a is an object of class int. Okay, this means a is an object of class int. A is an object of class int. Okay, so hopefully that is clear. Now let's go back. If that part is clear, then understand that class in Python can be used as a keyword. Okay, then you will see this thing in itself. Okay, this is a special constructor method. It's called automatically when a new object is created. It's used to initialize the object's attributes. Now what does it actually mean? Do you remember anything, or should I go about this?
না जाई ना भूले गए
Okay, don't worry. So first you need to understand what is this class. So you will see that in Python I cannot do something like this. When I want to suppose create a variable, say int a, it will give me an error. See the error. Int a, invalid syntax, because okay, yeah, of course this syntax is wrong itself. Now if I do something like this, int a, then I don't think I will get any error. Now if I just basically do b equal to int a, then I'm just storing, like assigning the integer into this, but suppose I convert it into float,
এতে এরর আসবে না
then also I'm not going to get any error. Okay, but it will change if I do basically just print
10.0 দেবে আউটপুট আউটপুট 10.0 দেবে
10.0. Yeah, that's correct. So this is our now our class 4. But what happened here? I did a typecasting. Okay. This I did a typecasting. Okay. Now let's go back here. What I wanted to say.
জানি ও ইনিট শোনো শোনো আমি আমার মনে পড়েছে ইনিটের কাজটা হচ্ছে তোমার
Mhm.
মানে আমি এটার ক্লাস বানাবো তার আন্ডারে অবজেক্টগুলো আমি ডিফাইন করবো ওটা কি বলছে নাকি
Can you just repeat? What did you say? Just
লাইক
repeat.
ইনিটের কাজটা
Yeah.
কি হচ্ছে মানে আমি ধরো একটা ক্লাস
Hmm.
বানালাম
Hmm.
ইনিটের কাজটা হচ্ছে আমি ধরো একটা ক্লাস বানালাম তার আন্ডারে অবজেক্টগুলোকে আমি এটা ডিফাইন করছি উইথ দ্য হেল্প অফ ইন্ট
No, int is different. Why? This is init. Init means initialization. Okay, I got your confusion. So init is init basically the full. I don't say this. This should be an abbreviation, but yeah, like this is like an abbreviation. So the full form, I feel so wrong when I'm saying that it's full form, but it stands for, okay, it basically represents the concept of initialization. Okay, I'm going to go into this, where what is a constructor, method, and all this, but just give me some time. Then okay, let's not basically just go key concepts. We are going to cover this when we see an example. I think that would be better. So this is an example of a dog class. Okay, now what is this? This class is a keyword. Okay, oh, the thing that I was going to say. Since class is a keyword, means it this dog now acts as like a class. So that means I can create an object of the class dog, which is same as I'm creating an object of the class int. Okay. Now when I do this, a equal to 10, I have created an object of class int. That means this term class has to be defined somewhere, right? This is actually a special keyword used in Python to initiate, or not even initiate, to basically begin programming or instructing the interpreter to create a new class, okay, or create a new template. Do you get the idea that we are actually creating a new template of our own? We're going to be creating our new own variable. It could be something very different than int or float or anything. Now, an example would be to have a class here dog, because these are actually generic examples that I've taken from the internet. And like there is another example of basically creating a class of animal, which is very common in C++ books. Okay, in so all these books kind of use the same examples again and again because they work. That's the short answer of it. Now, what are we doing here actually? We are creating a function. Now this function, you can see that init function. Now this is called a constructor. So this is the constructor method. Now what is actually a constructor method? So the constructor is responsible to, in C I would have said to do the memory allocation and begin the function, but to initiate the function and all its necessary member variables. But because it is Python, it is not only responsible for, under the hood, it does a lot of memory allocation. Okay, it does a lot of things with memory, but let's not get into that. It also actually helps in creating those, let's say, list dot my list dot sort and all these functions. Okay, now all these functions and all this, let's say, attributes or member functions or all this needs to be initiated, okay, by some method. This constructor is responsible, init is responsible for that. Now, what is this self written? I'm going to come back to it. Don't worry. There is this, then three variables are written. Okay, name, breed, and age. Then you will see that I am writing, oh, self dot breed, self dot age. Then I'm just printing that a new dog, like a dog name created. So let's say you have a lot of dogs, be it some a pet shop. Okay. Now in the pet shop, you basically create all this like class. In the class dog, you basically store the name, breed, and the age. Now let's say if I go into the self, you need to understand what the self is. So a special variable that represents the instance of the object itself. It allows you to access the object's attributes and methods from within the class definition. Now, this does not mean anything to you because you haven't seen it. Understand what it could mean. You will see that in list, you could do mylist.append. Have you ever thought that, my list, how am I able to do that? Because these are functions which are acting on the object itself. So when you do a self, it basically represents that you are talking about the object created under this class. So these things, like let's say some dog name, say you will see an example here, dog1 dot name. See this. Say this dog1 dot name is actually a variable, which is a string type variable. See. Now, if I just go back here, this self gets replaced by the object under the class dog. Hopefully that is clear, right? Okay. Now understand that there are two things, attribute and a method. So attribute are basically is the term that we have given to, let's say, any object which is actually a variable, like sorry, any not even any object, basically something that is there inside an object which is a variable, a data variable. Okay, fine. And now the point is, what is a method? So if you see me that I'm calling this as a member function or member variable, then understand that I have done too much Java in my life. Okay, so I don't think that you got the, like, you got the joke, right? I think you did not. Did you get the joke? Okay, so whatever. Okay, okay. In Java, basically, Java is actually a purely object-oriented programming language. So the terminology that Java fixed uh, is the industry standard at this point. Okay. So because it is the industry standard, um, it is what it is. So generally, everyone who has done some amount of object-oriented programming, they are going to refer to any functions defined under a particular class as member functions, and anything that is defined as a variable would be member variables or attributes. Okay. Now Python just calls that method and attribute. It's fine. This is just simple terminology that just changes between language to language. It doesn't matter that much. Now the point is, if you go to a method. Okay, so here you will see that we have defined a method which is bark. Okay, so understand what is this bark, then you are passing it to self. So when you do self, that means this self could be replaced by the object of the class. That means say you have a dog named Tommy, so you will basically do Tommy dot bark, and the bark function will basically do, it will basically return a string. And what string, and this is a formatted string, f string. So the format will basically first call the self dot name, means suppose it is Tommy dot name. So Tommy ka naam kya hai? Okay, I think I should have called it not Tommy, let's say my dog dot name. So the name may be, let's say, Tommy. Okay, is that clear? Hmm.
মানে কি বলবো, মানে তুমি যেগুলো ডিফাইন করেছো, অবজেক্টটা হচ্ছে ডগ 1 বা ডগ 2 যাই হোক।
Yes. Now, let's say another method. We have birthday.
স্যার তুমি কি
So
আমার কথা দেরিতে শুনতে পাচ্ছ বা কিছু?
yeah, there is a little bit of latency. I don't know why. There is a little bit of latency, but whatever.
কেন এমএ কথা বলছো?
Probably this is because I am not only streaming and all, like you are in a Google Meet and this is going into the YouTube. Probably that's the reason. I don't exactly know why there's a latency, but sometimes there is. Okay, now let's just continue. Let's not think about that too much. If I'm able to hear you and answer your queries, that's more than enough. Okay. A 2 or 3 second delay won't matter that much. Now the point is, suppose we go here. You will see that we are going to define have birthday. This is again a function which is defined on self. Then again, I can say that my dog dot have birthday. That means it will do what? It will take the self dot age, means my dog dot age, and increment it by 1. And then it will return a formatted string where it will capture the name of the dog, or let's say my dog, which is the object. So self is always replaced by the object. Okay. You see, self @dog. Now, you basically do a congratulations that you are now, let's say, 1 year older. So now if you see, if I just run this real quick, of course, there won't be any output because you just defined a class. Now Python in your code will now have this class dog. Okay. Now you will see, if I just do and run this, you will see that I have defined dog1 and dog2. They are now being objects of the class dog. Okay. Achha, by the way, see this. When I hover over, let's say this class, which is dog. Okay.
স্যার এক মিনিট
Yeah.
স্যার এক মিনিট দাঁড়াও।
Yes, sure,
তুমি
sure.
একটা কথা বলো, আমি যদি ধরো লিখি
Hmm.
প্রিন্ট টাইপ ডগ 1, will
Mhm.
it give the মানে আমাকে কি আউটপুট দেবে যে ক্লাস ডগস বলে?
Yeah, sure. Okay, that's a good point. Let's do that. So let's say we are going to checking the type. Checking the type. Okay. So let's do that. So we are going to do print type of dog1. Okay, now let's run it. See this. Okay. Okay, now you might, okay, wait. Yeah, I know that question was coming. So basically, what is this? Main defines the scope. Yeah, I know, I'm telling you. Main defines the scope. Okay. So where the dog class has been defined. But if you see that there is no main, if I go to and do that class, like type checking over a list, and the reason is very simple. These are Python's predefined data types. That means they are there in the interpreter since the beginning, or since the creation of this interpreter version, which is Python. Oh, yeah. I should mention I am using Python 3.13.5. So that's there. If there are any issues in the future videos, one can refer to this version. Now, this main basically means that the class that has been,
What is the usage of making a new class?
yes. So it is there only in the main, what do you call this, main part of the program. Now understand what is the main part of the program. That means that this module or this script that is running is the main script. Means this will be the first thing that will be run or be looked for by the Python interpreter when it is making any package, modules, or anything else. Any file which will just contain methods and not this init method main will basically be interpreted as a submodule or sub part of some, like it has a hierarchy of different stuff. Okay, I'm not going to that. But because we are run,
দরকারটা কি আছে?
yeah, class one দরকার. Understand that when we are making classes, you will see that the amount of program that you need to write is, the amount of lines that you need to write is quite long. Okay. The only reason you are making a class is to induce the concepts of object-oriented programming, which is inheritance, data abstraction, polymorphism, and like all this stuff. So because to be very honest, you are not doing that much of Java or C++. I haven't gone to those concepts right now. But as we go along with Python programming, we will go and introduce those concepts. Okay. So do not worry. And the reason, a very short answer type, this is a paradigm of programming. So to be very honest, I don't myself like this object-oriented programming that much. But a lot of people do, to be honest. So that's there to it. Now, let's continue. So I was doing what? Yeah, I'm just basically accessing the attributes right now. I'm just printing the name, breed, and age, and then I'm doing a bark, and then I'm having the dog's birthday, and I'm just printing it. And you will see all of these are actually working. Now notice that how each object, dog1 and dog2, has its own independent state, that is the name, age, etc. This concept of bundling data attributes and functions methods into a self-contained unit is called encapsulation. Now, encapsulation is actually an object-oriented programming concept, which you need to understand. Like, suppose you have a medicine. Okay. Now, if you have a medicine, like let's say paracetamol or something like those vitamin C capsules. Okay. Do you really know that what is there in each capsule? Probably you don't know that much, but you know that there is some medicine inside each and every capsule. Now, if you have a capsule 1, if you have a capsule 2, then the contents of capsule 1 don't actually influence the contents of capsule 2, right? This is the concept of encapsulation. That means dog1 will actually have its own separate name. Okay, name variable. Dog2 will have its own separate name variable. This is very much interesting because with just one like instance, okay, dog1 and dog2, when you just basically declare it, at that point itself, you are able to create so many variables and so many functions unique to each and every object.
আচ্ছা এক মিনিট
Yeah. Tell.
আমাকে একটা জিনিস বলো, এই যে ডেফ ইনিট যে তুমি যে করেছো সেলফ কমা নেম কমা ব্রিড কমা এজ, এবার আমি ধরো
Yes.
ডগ ওয়ান ইজিক্যাল টু ডগ করে ধরো প্রথমে ধরো আমি ধরো ব্রিড দিলাম, তারপর ধরো
Hmm.
ওর নেম দিলাম, তারপর ধরো এজ দিলাম। এবার ডগ ওয়ান ডট নেম করলে ও তো আমাকে ব্রিড দিয়ে দেবে, তার কারণ তুমি তো ফাংশনে একটা অর্ডার ডিফাইন করেছো যে অর্ডারটা থাকবে নেম ব্রিড বা এটা ঠিক আছে, তুমি অর্ডার ডিফাইন করেছো এক্স ওয়াই জেড হিসেবে, আমি
Yeah.
ইনপুট দিচ্ছি ওয়াই এক্স জেড হিসেবে। তো ব্যাপারটা একটু
No, no,
বোঝা গেল?
that's fine. That's fine. See. That part about this order. Okay, you know this order is actually like a little bit strict. So that's a very good question. So I was going to come into that. Like, just give me 1 minute. I'm going to say I'm going to answer it. But see this class dog here. You will see that whenever I hover over it, name, breed, and age, it specifically mentions me that which order that I need to insert it. And if I go by your question, let's do that. If I suppose I'm going to show you the error itself. So if I do dog1, okay, and I create a class with class of dog.
আরে ডগ একটা অন্য নাম দাও।
No, this is the name of the class. I can't change this. I'm basically going to
ডগ ওয়ান
no,
তো
no,
হয়ে গেছে, হ্যাঁ বলো।
I was going to basically comment it out. Don't worry. So now instead of let's say buddy, let's say I'm going to replace this tree and this. Okay, and let's say I call it buddy here. Okay,
মুকু মুকু মুকু,
huh?
ঠিক আছে,
Oh, Muku.
বলো
Okay,
মুকু নাম দিতে।
let's give it's fine. Muku like this,
আরে
right?
মুকু মুকু মুকু,
MUKU or KKU.
জিয়ানের কুকুর, আরে জিয়ানের কুকুর, জিয়ানের কুকুর,
Oh, I
জিয়ানের
forgot
কুকুর।
his. Okay, now see. Uh, Basically, I'm going to. This will actually raise an error because the order of the arguments are not correct. See this. The error. See. So it was able to even create it. But in the creation, you will see that this is the error. Because I was trying to do some kind of operation, which is an integer operation. Yeah.
সেই সেই অর্ডারেই করতে হবে।
Yes, it has to be done. But now I was going to show you something interesting. The interesting part would be coming here right now. So suppose I do a triple comma and do something like this. Oh, wait. I need to give triple comma here as well. Why is that arithmetic error? I don't know. That just came up somehow. So okay, let me just delete this part. What? That's a very weird thing. Okay, so this is just a simple class to represent a dog. Okay. Now, as soon as I write this, as soon as I write something like this, then I try to hover over it. Now see this. Can you see this text that is written here? Now, what is this? Basically, whenever I do something in this like three quotation marks, it is being generated as a doc string. Okay. And basically, I don't know what Copilot is trying to give me a suggestion for it, but fine. So this is something that you need to understand. Okay. Now, when you suppose hover over it, you also need to mention the order of the variables, and you can easily do that. And this will be a guiding stencil for everyone who's going to be using your program. So you can actually prevent people from sabotaging it. Okay. Got it? Chalo. Now, next, what should we do? Okay, by the way, let me just keep this as uncommented and let me comment this out. And let me run it once more for the sake of just having it complete. Now, the next part of the main thing that we are going to discuss today is the stack. Okay. What is actually a stack? Stack is a linear data structure that follows the last in, first out concept. Like suppose you have a bucket which is like enclosed from the bottom, and yeah, the logic of the stack is fine. Yeah, even though, but that logic was fine, but you forgot that which one is which, and the naming convention is so much simple. See, a stack is nothing but like a stack of books, a stack of plates, a stack of clothes, and all this. Okay, so it's not really difficult to remember the naming convention for this because they are taken from real life objects. So if you know English, you should be able to write it. Okay, and yeah, I was going to show you a diagram about this. Just a second. Yes, this is the diagram, and okay, I have to come to this from, yeah, let's first discuss about this, then we shall go into that. Now, this is actually a linear data structure. Now, what is actually a linear data structure? Do you know?
লিনিয়ার ডেটা স্ট্রাকচার মানে কি বলবো মানে 2D লিস্ট নরমাল লিস্ট মানে যেটা নরমাল লিস্ট লিখলে ওটা হচ্ছে মানে 1D 2D
Hmm.
লিস্ট মানে ধর নেস্টেড লিস্টটাকে 2D বলা হয়
Okay, but that would still be a linear data structure.
স্টিল
Yes.
ম্যাট্রিক্স এর নেস্টেড লিস্ট বাট ওটা তো তোমার 2D লিস্ট ওটা তো 2D লিস্ট
No, that is different. That is different. See, I'm going to give you an example. If in a data structure, let's say a stack of books or stack of something, if each and every element has only one predecessor and one successor except the terminals, means suppose a stack of books, each book inside the stack except the top and the bottom one is having one book above it and one book below it. That is a linear data structure. Okay, do you get it?
ঠিক আছে
So what could be a non-linear data structure then? What could be a
আমার ধরো হ্যাপাজার জিনিসপত্র থাকবে
okay. What's the definition that I just gave for linear? What's the definition that I just gave for linear?
বলছো মানে লিনিয়ার বলছো মানে ধর আমি একটা বইয়ের উপর রেখে যাচ্ছি ওটাই হচ্ছে লিনিয়ার ডেটা স্ট্রাকচার
That means each and every object in this like linear data structure, except the terminals, will have only one predecessor and one successor, right?
হ্যাঁ
So suppose it is more than one. then that will be non-linear, right?
মোর দেন ওয়ান সম্ভব কি করে? একটা বইয়ের উপর তুমি আমি স্ট্যাক দেখি একটা বইয়ের উপর একটা, যেটা তুমি বললে একটা প্রিডিসেসর একটা সাকসেসর থাকবেই, মোর দেন ওয়ানটা সম্ভব কি করে?
A good example would be like family tree. So in your family tree, you have your mother and your father, right? So from your mother and father, you are coming, right? So that means what? You have two predecessors. Now the point is, if you are able to basically successfully mate with someone, then you will have one or more successors, right? So this is an example of non-linear data structure. Okay,
Oh, you are epic explanation.
just real life explanation. And like if you're going to like higher classes with all this, and I'm going to basically show you a little bit of the tree and other data structures, but the point is, in actually computer science, we call that a tree data structure. We have daughter node, we have mother node, and grandmother, grandfather node, and all this. Okay, we say that this is a child, you kill a child, and all this thing. Okay, so these are processes, maybe. So there are data structures, and the naming convention is very much realistic and weird, because when you say you kill a node, you kill a leaf, or you something do like that, it becomes awkward sometimes. Okay, but whatever. So the core operations. Okay, the core operations are basically push, pop, peek, is empty, and size. Okay, so without these operations, you cannot really have a stack. Now the point is, who defined this? Now this is like a standard template that has been followed. Okay, so if you don't have this standard operations, it would be very difficult to actually implement the stack completely. Okay, now the stack that you implement might actually have different values, different functions, and all this, but that is fine. The main point is that these stacks should actually have remarkable, whatever be your function, but this should at least have all these core operations. Now,
স্যার একটা কথা বলি,
yeah,
এখন এখন 12:30 বাজে, তুমি এই লেকচারটা কন্টিনিউ করো, তোমাদের ইউটিউবে লাইভ স্ট্রিম থাকবে তো?
yes,
নেক্সট ক্লাসের আগে আমি জাস্ট স্ট্রিমটা দেখে নেবো, কোনো ডাউট থাকলে আমি জিজ্ঞেস করে নেবো, কারণ আমি
yeah, it's
স্ট্রিমটা
fine.
দেখে নেবো
Just,
বলছি।
oh
আমি
yeah,
একটু লাইভ জিনিসপত্র দেখে নেবো।
okay, okay, fine. I know you have exam,
হ্যাঁ, এবার
so
তুমি লেকচারটা কন্টিনিউ করো।
yeah,
তুমি
you will be able to see this.
তুমি
Just
স্ক্রিনটা দেখো।
yeah, it's fine, it's fine. Just check on the YouTube that if the stream quality is good enough. Okay, check it and come back. Okay, if this is bad, just come back to the class. It's fine. I'm just continuing the class with it then. So after that, if you
লাইভ
see,
দেখছো?
yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. So in Python, you will find that there is a built-in function which is an implementation of this concept of stack, which is basically the list class. Now in the list class, you will see that we are doing a lot of member operations on this, like list.append, list.pop, and all that. Now these basically represent the push function and the pop function respectively. Now we can actually create a proper stack that will encapsulate this whole logic of this data structure and this LIFO structure. Okay, we create a class called stack. Now in this we do an init method, and in this init method we basically just initialize items. Now what these items are? These are nothing but the list. Okay, and we are using a list for basically creating the stack. That was what we just discussed about. Now after we initialize, remember this is like self.list. That means whatever be the stack name, say the stack name is S1 or be S2 or some power ranges or whatever you give, then that thing dot items will basically give you that list. Okay, now is empty is actually a good function. Is empty checks that whether there are any items in the list or not. You directly just do a length function of the list and check it. If it is equal to 0, then of course if the equality is valid, then it is true that the stack is empty. Then you basically, okay, I think we should have done a full. Suppose we have a limited stack. Okay. So suppose we actually have a limited stack. Then we can say self dot say something like limit or max items. Okay. Max size, something like that. So say we set it to something like 100. Now, just like is empty, we can actually create another function, which is def is full. And we are going to have the self for it. Basically, we will apply it on the name of the stack itself to return. Oh, by the way, we can also create a doc string like this. So returns the true if the stack is full, false otherwise. Now it returns the length of the it checks if first it checks that the length of the items of the list is greater than or equal to the max size. If it is greater than or equal to, then basically it means that the stack is completely full. Next, we are going to go into the push and pop operation. So the push and pop operations are like the adding operation and something when you are deleting. Okay. So in a push operation, so this is a good suggestion by like this Copilot. Okay. I am using it. That because I implemented this is full operation. So when we are adding it, we need to also check that whether the stack is full or not. So first we check that if the stack is full, then we print that the stack is full and we cannot push and we just return. But suppose if the stack is not full, then we just do an append inside the basically list. Okay. Wait, if it is full, yeah, we are returning it. So it is fine if we don't do an if else like statement, because if the first because it is an interpreter. So as soon as this line gets returned, it is fine with us that we are going to basically not continue executing the whole part of this, what they call this function, member function. Now, we continue with that. We see that we were able to push. Now then we can print out that we successfully pushed something into the stack, and the stack name, or sorry, the stack items we just print that the current stack contains these many items, or like whatever the stuff that the list has or the stack has. Then we implement a pop operation. It removes and returns the item from the top of the stack. So basically it we are having a is empty method, right? So we cannot delete something from an empty stack. So first we need to check if the stack is empty, and if it is actually empty, then we just return none. That means we cannot actually take anything out of an empty stack. Oh, by the way, one important thing, this stack is full is basically an example of stack overflow. If you basically push something into a completely filled stack, and basically that leads to memory leakages in C programming, and that concept is called stack overflow. And you know, the popular website which has guided like the developers and engineers for the last, I don't know, 10 15 15 20 like yeah 15 17 years, is it's still there, and the name comes from stack overflow. This this operation that happens. Now other than that, we have the stack underflow, when we try to basically take out objects from an empty stack. Now when we do an pop, we basically take the item. We have this method .pop, which is basically defined in Python. You will see that Python actually has this method, then def pop index supports index equals -1 to any. Okay, this any method has been defined in Python 3.4, if I remember correctly. I don't remember exactly, but after this any method was implemented, it basically tells that it could be assigned to any type of data type. And this any is a little bit notorious for defaulting into wrong data types. It used to be, but now they have, I think, corrected it, like made it stronger and something. But yeah, that's just Python interpreter things. Now, if I go with this, yeah, pop, it's like basically the pop operation that we are doing, and we are taking the item, we are printing it, and then we are also printing the current stack. It's very simple. Now the next part is the peek operation. we define a peek operation on the object itself or the class itself, that if the self dot is empty is actually true, that means the stack is basically empty, then you just print that the stack is empty. If it's not empty, just return the last item in the stack. Why we are returning the last item in the stack? Just suppose you are going to pick into a stack of books. You will be looking at the book that is on the top. That means the book that was lastly inserted. So that's why we are just returning the -1. After that, we are basically doing the size operation, which gives me the length or the number of objects that's actually there in the stack. With that, we complete the definition of the class stack. If we just run it, of course, we are not going to have any prints, but we can actually use our stack class to do a lot of stuff. Let's see what we are doing. First, we are initializing an object which is of the type or the class stack. Now, first we check if it's empty. Of course, it's now empty because we haven't inserted anything. We put some stuff, 10, hello, true, and all this. So if you just go to the diagram, this was the initial state. It was basically empty, right? So as it was empty, we then did what? We basically pushed something. We pushed 10. If I go back here, we are pushing 10. Then we are pushing hello. Then we are pushing true. Say this 10. Then okay, this is another like simple example. Then we are pushing again 20. Then we are basically doing a like what do you call this? 10 के बाद जो है 20 आ रहा है. Then we go to and push 30 to it. Okay. So the stack looks like 10, 20, 30. That like here, the stack will look like 10, then hello, then true. So that's how it should look like. Now, because these are diverse data types, because Python kind of handles it. Now, this is an old example that I just took from a book, because this is a very 10, 20, 30 example, which comes from C programming and all this stuff. The main concept remains the same. The last object to enter will be the first object to go out. So now, if I just print the stack size, it will be 3. Okay. But it will basically first check that if it is empty or not. Now then, is the stack empty? It will basically check it now. Now then after that, we are actually doing a peek operation to look at the last object which is there, or the last thing that got inserted into the stack. And as we do the peek operation, we can basically print out the object as well. And after that, we can do a stack size after the peek. So it basically gives us the ideas that if we do a pop operation, then how will it basically react to it. A pop operation basically removes the last object from the stack, but whereas the peek operation will not remove the last object from the stack. There's a very simple difference that you will find. Now, you will see that the output, so is the stack empty? Of course, we just created the stack. It is of course empty. Then we push 10 into it. Then we push hello into it. Then we push true into it. Then see, this is 10. Then this is hello. Then this is true. True is not a string. This is a boolean. Then we just do a print of the number of items in the stack, which is 3. Then we check that is the stack empty, which is false. Of course, we have 3 items. How can you say that it is empty? Next, we actually see that the top item is actually true. It probably doesn't make sense, but basically the top item is a boolean variable. Now, after that, we just do a stack size after the peek. Then this is 3. Because peek never actually alters the configuration of the stack. Then we pop true, when we pop hello, then we pop 10, then we see that we cannot pop any further because the stack is empty. As you can see here, we are pushing 10, 20, 30, then we pop 30, then we pop 20, then we pop 10, and basically at the last one, we haven't popped 10, but this is the last thing that is remaining here. So with that, the concept of stacks should be clear right now. And because the title of the class was classes and objects, we implemented a stack. Now there are a lot of things that I have done, which is a queue and then basically the linked list part. Okay, this will be covered in the next session. But for now, we basically started with the classes and object. Let me do a small recap. What are classes? Classes are just like blueprints. You put whatever thing that you want to mold into this, and that it comes out as an object. Imagine like a cookie cutter. So a cookie cutter would be the class, and the door that comes out of the cookie cutter would be an object. So that's the main concept. And after that, we got around the concept of linting and docstrings. This is how you create a docstring with 3 quotation marks. And when you hover over stuff, it basically shows the meaning of those. There is an order that needs to be maintained, which is the order that you define for your classes, and basically you define for it the init method, or let's say you define it for any function inside your class. So member functions that we are talking about, and you need to understand that the scope of this, basically we are doing it in notebooks, Python notebooks, basically have it in their main scope. So the dog class was defined in the main scope of the program. If that is clear, then we got into the stack, because that is just a data structure which follows the last in first out principle. And from that, we finally got into creating the stack. And stack basically contains a few core operations. Push, pop, peek is empty and size. And we were able to successfully create all these functions through using the already predefined list data type, not data type, sorry. In Python, everything is just a class. So we were using the list class to create the stack of stack class as well. And we then tried out our stack class with while creating an object S and doing all the we were applying all the functions on it. So just to check it out. Now, the next day, we are going to continue with the queue and the linked list. So that's all for today, and I'm just ending the stream right now. Goodbye, good night.